Welcome to the Unphazed Podcast, the number one Moti-tainment podcast in the world. We got a very, very spicy, we got a very good, great conversation for y'all today. And as y'all see, I got my Caitlin Clark 22 on, but I got some special guests. I got some very special guests to make this debate, not even a debate, make this conversation a little spicier, just to have some deeper conversations about what's been going on in the WNBA community. We got my boy Malik Leary.
Oh.
Shreveport's very own.
Yeah.
And we got, you already know, Real Dib McNeal here again, like he is always, on another episode of the Unphazed Podcast. This is going to be a good one. I'm excited. Leak, I appreciate you hopping on for me. Let's do it, baby.
I'm unfazed, yeah, I'm unfazed. I'm unfazed, yeah, I'm unfazed. I'm unfazed, yeah, finish stack this paper. I'm unfazed, yeah, finish stack this paper. I'm unfazed.
I ain't gonna lie, every time I see the intro, I look better and better than the intro.
Every time.
I was like, nigga, look how I look good.
Every time.
So why couldn't I see the intro?
You couldn't see it?
Run it again.
Run it again. Nah, for real. I don't know why. We'll fix that. We'll get that.
We'll get that
But I heard the music in my head though, so I feel like I'm same energy. I just couldn't see.
Yeah. So you good then? You good? But man, we got a great conversation today, man. This is Leak. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Bro,
like if y'all don't know, this is one of my brothers, man. Day one, A1 since day ones, bro. So
real.
Always great to have you on for a conversation and chop it up. We were talking about this a little bit outside, so
exactly.
I'm like, we might as well bring it to the pod.
Pop it off.
We might as well bring it to the pod, man. So I'm just very happy to have you on, E. It's always good to have you on, man. So we gotta talk about this though. The first thing that we need to talk about though, like before, let's give some context behind like what's going on, like where this all started, right? This was the play that kind of started everything for us.
Strong on a three. And look out, Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese.
Now look, I just want to go on record saying
Angel Reese
before we even jump into
going after Caitlin Clark in the aftermath.
Everyone in the arena had to know this foul was
And on
coming.
that,
As soon as you saw Angel Reese
like
wide open,
flop.
you knew that Caitlin Clark was going to come in and take that foul.
Well, before we even jump into it, I want to go on record saying I'm not biased whatsoever. I'm like I said before, I'm pro women's basketball, very much pro women's basketball. So at the end of the day, you know, there's pros and cons to just talking about the sports play. I just want to hit it off on the head. Respectfully, I don't feel like Caitlin was all the way wrong. You know, this your girl face, so I know you.
I got something to say. So chill out. Why
to diagnose? I want to just diagnose the whole play.
I'm sipping on toes.
I feel like a lot of people are missing the fact of the matter. Angel did push old girl in the back at the start of the clip.
For sure.
She did shove Shorty, and then as she pushed her, Caitlin called it out like, "Damn, look, push." I'm just gonna say, imagine, you know, your homeboys, you know. Somebody push you. You trying to box out somebody push you. I'm definitely sliding for them.
I'm hot every time.
I was definitely with Caitlin when Angel pushed her girl and then Caitlin gave the little shove back. It wasn't everybody trying to make it like it was distasteful or dirty. I don't think it was too much. I feel like it was in the play. Angel did flop a little extra, trying to get the foul call, so it just looked worse than what it was, and then she didn't like it getting up. But ultimately, I don't think Caitlin did the most. You know,
I think that's basketball.
Yeah,
100%.
That same exact play, that same whole thing that just happened
too many
there,
times in
it happens
basketball.
in the NBA all the time. But on the same token, right, you see that happen in the NBA, and you see people have Angel Reese reaction too. They get up and they like, it was a little too hard.
And then they don't put your hands on them. Don't put your hands on them.
But now it's a whole thing here because of the dynamic of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and everything like that.
Because they're women, it's a lot layered in there.
There's a lot layered in there.
I feel like it happens at the rec. We can go hoop. We can go hoop at the street.
Don't let it happen at the rec. It might have been fighting.
The same thing would happen.
That was coming to blows at the rec.
Happen at LA Fitness all the time. I see it all the time.
Every time.
Nah, bro, but I definitely agree with that, bro. But I think the craziest thing with this, and then we get into the takes that blew this up, RG3 and Ryan Clark, and both of them going at it. But I think the main thing here is what I've seen is the media is what is putting these women against each other. Because you see, like, and one thing I talk to E about this all the time is like, yeah, we're gonna come on a podcast. This is what we do: have a conversation, just chop it up, locker room talk, barbershop talk, all that. But every time you interview Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese about it, they're not even talking much about it. Like a lot of times they don't even think about it too much. It's like just in the heat of the moment, playing the game, and it's the media that's bringing all this tension or this hate and all this other stuff to it too. So I think a lot of times
100%,
that's how
bro.
I
It's all
feel.
perspective, bro. It's all perspective, you know.
It's
It's weird.
perspective, and I think we're seeing like a bubbling of like, because we've been seeing bad media. That
Facts.
theme being a constant for like the last couple of years, especially in basketball. Like you think about
Facts.
what happened with Stephen A. and LeBron. You think about like kind of how the players have been speaking. That we got what is it? All of the smoke, the stack, and
Yeah,
I mean, we
from
have
sinners.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm dead.
nah,
Not the smoking stack.
that's
Trying to keep it
funny.
relevant.
That's funny.
yeah.
But like we've been seeing players speak about how the people covering the league, covering the sport, ain't really been doing their job as well as they could from their perspective. So
Mhm.
then we layer that to WNBA, a sport that's not really covered that well,
Right.
that deeply. The two biggest names relatively in the sport, and
Right.
it's just like a mishandling of the situation because it's like competitive nature there. Two one champion is there for sure. Now we get into my biases if we want to get
Go
into it.
ahead, go
There's a
ahead.
Come on
champion.
now.
There's a
There's
champion
a
there.
champion in this mix already.
Yeah, yeah.
And it kind of gets into the history of their relationship too.
And they
And
try to
it's like,
downplay her, like she not that.
come on.
Like, okay, like, and
Like
it's
he
that
said, you
conversation.
know,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
bad
go ahead.
media. I think it's bad media all the way through. Then when you add
Hmm.
on the emotion of the fans to it, it incites the fuel to the fire even more. So ultimately, I just feel like, you know, when you look at the holistic picture of everything, it's just the narrative, the way you want to take it. They're going to run with a story, whether it's truth to it or not. You know,
Sure.
it's going to be what it is. So
Yeah, no, I definitely think that. I think one of the main things that like I was looking at is RG3's take, right? And the take, like we don't gotta play the whole take or like whatever it is, him and Ryan Clark going back and forth, whatever. But like his take, I think was exactly what we're saying. And RG3, like I don't know him, I don't know you. So it's like I have no connection to you or anything, but I'm just looking at that take. I think that's a good example of like just a bad take.
yes,
Like, and then in his when he was responding to what Ryan Clark said, one of the things he's like, I'm speaking of the hatred, and it's just basketball. No,
no, you did no,
you're
no, you
talking
did
about
not.
hate. Like you're saying this, everything you said was personal.
Uh,
Like
Everything.
this is why she hates Caitlin Clark. This is why she hates her, and this and
It's
that. And
clear.
it's very clear.
Yeah.
And even when you think about it, bro, it's like there's going to be in the sports rivalries where they may genuinely feel like that about it, but to bring the attention like it's solely she's making a bad basketball player or something like that because she's trying to really get under her skin or whatever it's going to be. There was really people taking people out back in the day, elbows, people coming out the air, flying, knee, whatever it's going to be. Yes, the games got cleaned up a lot more over the years, but you got to think about it, bro, respectfully. There's been a lot of people we played against when it comes to rival schools or when it comes to rival teams, bro. We not messing you, bro. Like we're not messing with you, bro. Like I'm
That's a
not
great
jacking you.
point.
I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm not trying to shake your hand. I got at the end of the day a job to do for my city, a job, you know what I'm saying, the show to put on from, my fans. And at the end of the day, it's just come with the territory. And I just feel like they blown out of proportion. But
That's a great point because it's the same thing again when they ridicule the NBA players for
Mm.
all of the love that they share. They say, "Oh, back in the day, there was like you didn't see Mike kicking it with Isaiah," or
Yeah,
they love to throw that narrative around. But all of a sudden, just because Caitlyn and Angel aren't best of friends,
right.
yeah.
it must be like this hugely divisive thing. And it's like I think it's just not great for the sport, and they don't care about it.
They don't.
Angel and
Right.
Caitlyn, like they don't want to be talking
They
about
know
each
what
other.
it is at the end of the day. It's up one when I see you and I feel like they rise up to the intensity of the game. They it makes them play better. They're going to give you the real emotion. Like she said before, it's not just one person is the reason why we watching now. It's not just one person the reason why we tuned in. Ultimately, it is because of Angel. Angel is without Angel, there would be no Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese animosity. So it takes two to tango. I think that tango, the dance is going very well. So at the end of the day, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing to bring the eyes to the league. You know what
Wait,
I'm saying? So,
wait. So that point right there, right?
Let's get
I
into
think
it.
I think I think there is a Caitlin Clark without a Angel Reese for sure.
Not to the
Like it's
magnitude. I'm not saying that her basketball caliber, IQ. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the attention right now that she has in the media. Yeah, she's a great basketball player. We're not taking the triple doubles away from her on the season opener. None of that. What I'm
Mhm.
saying is, does she have the same amount of hype? Because who's our competition? Who's the argument? You know what I'm saying? Like, for example,
That's yeah.
everybody has a villain. You have to have, you know what I'm saying, your kryptonite. You have to have, and I'm not saying Angel Reese is her kryptonite or her stopper, but it makes the conversation that much more entertaining around Caitlin Clark when you have, the narrative surrounding her, like, oh, she got somebody who's just out to get her or whatever it may be. It brings that real, whether they want to call it heroic, underdog, or whatever they want to call it, you know what I'm saying, the people's hero, it brings that narrative towards Caitlin. Without Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark is just a good basketball player. With Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark is a phenomenal basketball player who can show you that she's an emotional player and this game means more to her, and she gives you that competitive edge to an all-time high.
No,
So
so I don't think that with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, I don't agree that Angel Reese is the something that is making Caitlin Clark such a great basketball player. I think Caitlin Clark without
you're
Angel
not
Reese
okay.
is a great basketball player. But I also think Angel Reese without Caitlin Clark is a great basketball player. But I think what the media and what people do is they do, like you're saying, it makes it more interesting, right? It makes it more interesting,
100%.
make a hero and a villain and this and that. And I think what a lot of people were doing is they trying to compare these people and like their gameplay and like this and that and just like, why are we comparing? They're two completely different
They
players
don't
as
even guard each other
well.
majority of the time. Is
Like,
what
we're
you're
talking
saying.
about
Bro,
like pure basketball.
Like,
you
Like,
you
this is
saying
different.
you
Yeah.
saying that a point guard is a better passer than a center, than
Like,
a
what are
right.
we
shooter?
I'd be like,
talking
bro, they
Like,
don't guard.
about?
bro,
They
what
don't.
are
Like,
you
what are we talking
like?
about?
Duh, like what are you like? That is so crazy to me. It blows
Yeah.
my mind.
Like, Kobe is a better shooter than Shaq.
Like, okay,
Duh,
Like,
right.
like,
great
like we
point.
gonna sit
Like,
here and
okay,
argue
let's
that?
wait till there's really, again, y'all know I'm pro Juju, so I'm just waiting. I'm
Oh,
waiting for the
See,
the conversation to really change because yeah, and there's great point guards in the WNBA right now who just have just as much hype. I just feel like because of the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese narrative that's going on right now, it and you can't say that it doesn't. It
right?
incites who she is as a basketball player. Like at the end of the day, she has a story behind her now. She's not just that's why I'm gonna keep saying it. She's not just a great basketball player now. She actually has you know a Marvel story. You know what I'm saying? Like she has her origin story, I should say. So you know what I'm saying? Like the hype is there. You need the
100%.
hype. You got
yeah,
the you got the Jordan Bird or the Magic Bird or you got the I'm saying
but I don't think
you
so
have
though.
that. You don't
Let's
have that without support.
Because when you watch the game, no, like even if you watch the game, like I'm not looking at that like a magic bird. Like it's just like they're not even like comparable. You know what
They
I mean?
are
Like I don't
though
even
because
you
no.
don't
Bird
think
didn't play
you
the
don't think
same
they're comparable?
position. They did not play the same position. It's the same exact thing. Whether you want to go about it about
So
race too, it's the white girl versus the black girl. It's the white boy versus the black boy. It's the same
Yes,
conversation for real,
that's
for
what
real.
they're doing. That's
It
what they're
really is.
doing.
but also like it's hella history there as well. Like if you
There
if you
is.
go
Facts,
back to the
facts.
There is.
Iowa, not Iowa State. Was she at Iowa State?
Yes,
I, I think it was Iowa.
yeah,
Iowa.
it's like
Iowa LSU. Like that
Buckeye,
Final Four
not
Elite Eight.
Was
Buckeye,
was a man. That's
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
that. Yes, and
Hawkeye, Hawkeye.
that's the story. Yeah. Yes.
So like it's deep there. And like, I won't even say who won, who was the winner in those battles. But I do think from like that there is a reason why yeah, they were great players, and there's been plenty of great players in the history of the W, and there will continue to be. We see that with
Facts.
Paige,
It's
we see
getting
that with
better.
Juju, we
Yes.
see that with
Yes.
we got a couple girls out there at LSU that I think what I'm saying, give them a couple years.
Shout out. Shout out.
Shout out to them. But it's because they came at the same time. They had
It
that.
is.
We had Kim Mulkey, Angel. She got her girl Angel. There's this white girl out there in Iowa breaking records, and then they meet in the Final Four, the most watched game in college. Like that year, no boys basketball game,
Right.
no NBA game beat the amount of people who
No.
just tuned in
And
to
you
watch.
can't take that away from Angel Reese.
Exactly, because
He
I
adds
You
to
wasn't,
that
can't.
I
Yes.
conversation.
wasn't, I wasn't dialing in to watch Caitlin. I was dialing
Hmm.
in to watch Angel,
Hmm.
I
as I
was
know
dialing
that.
in to watch two all-star phenoms ball, because in the day they were both surrounded in great
That's a
programs
good point.
too.
I like that.
So, you know, at
Me
the end of the
too.
day,
Me too.
some people like, oh, I'm tuning in. My thing is, at the end of the day, we all gonna have our favorite players.
Yeah.
We all gonna have
Yes.
the people we love to watch. I'm coming here to see such and such and such. At that point in time, you know, at the height of college basketball, women's college basketball, respectfully, I didn't really know too much of, you know, what's the history was leading up. I just knew that it was the intensity, like the level of play was there, the story was there. Now you're digging a little bit more into it, like, dang, what is the beef for real? What is the tension? And now
Yes.
it makes it for that much more of exciting basketball because it has a backstory now to it, you know. But again, to jump
Yes.
into to just kind of where it's become today, yes, I love and again, I don't think the W. I think, you know, respectfully, and y'all can
Don't
have
you?
your opinions. I feel
You
like
try to say the W because
you know,
you
say
call
yeah,
it the
y'all be
W
using.
now.
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be fancy.
You trying to be a
But respectfully,
Soundmax
the
nigga?
W, I feel like
Yes,
they were
sir.
getting here one way or another. Whether it had been Angel Reese, whether it had been Caitlin Clark, whether it had been two other. Eventually, this is what they needed, or something like this was to come for the height of their basketball, because they've been playing great basketball for years. There's been great rivalries in the W for years, but now it's just like, okay, now whatever it is
100%.
about these two women that help amp it up. Let's ride with it, but in a
100%, bro.
respectful way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think, and going back to like what you're saying, I think one thing with Angel Reese that I love too is that bringing me to the game. Like for me, my experience, like I heard both of y'all experiences. My experience was Caitlin Clark. I
Mhm.
didn't know about LSU. I didn't know about Angel Reese. I didn't
mhm.
know about like really anyone. So I'm like,
If you
Caitlin
can't
Clark,
tell,
who is that?
bro, he's very pro Caitlin Clark. He got a
No,
whole mixtape album
I'm
out
already
for her.
I'm already knowing. I'm not surprised. And
Yeah,
He
but
I
got me
like,
love it.
featuring on it.
Like I
yeah,
love that.
so that was my experience. I seen that because I'm not into women's basketball like that or whatever, and I
Mhm.
had my biases or whatever. But then I'm watching the game, I'm like, oh wow, this is the Stephen Curry of this. This is interesting. But then I seen
The hype is
Angel
real.
Reese on LSU, and I seen that other side. I seen that dog
Yeah.
that we stereotypically don't think the WNBA has.
Well,
And a lot of times we're not even getting that from the college. I'm not gonna say
Y'all
we're
lucky
going to
Angel
getting
Reese
that.
can't dunk. It would have been over.
Oh
come
my
on, man.
God,
Swear
don't
to
play. But
God.
it's like I seen that, but I'm like that's what I wanted to do. I think like hitting on what we all saying is like that same intensity, that same greatness. We both came to watch greatness,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what we got. And they
But
provided that. But what
you
I
see,
didn't like, E,
yeah, go
is
ahead. You getting
that
there right now. You
in
getting there right now.
what I didn't like, E, is that when we get to now they're both in the pros, now they're playing
Yeah.
and whatever it is. But now we're not talking about basketball. Like
Right.
that
You, I
that
thought you
that
getting there. You
take
getting there.
that take wasn't basketball. Like we're talking
Close.
about, we're putting white against black. We're not. I'm not even saying we're putting white against black. I think we're painting someone in a way that's negative. Angel Reese is this. She hates this. They're just competitive. They're just playing. They're not talking about it. Why are you putting so much of a negative light on it when the WNBA has already fought so hard with these girls to get to
Mhm.
the level that they are now? You're trying to bring it down,
Mhm.
right?
And like you said, bro, like they're taking away from what the game is. And unfortunately, it's the people with the platform. Like I said, one thing I like is that we can come on this platform that is ours, you know, and share a positive perspectives about two competitive female basketball players, two competitive ball players, period,
Hoopers.
you know, that just have a natural love and passion for the game. But we don't sit up here, you know, and I'm gonna bash Angel or I'm gonna bash Caitlin. You know, that's not what this platform is for. And if other people
No.
if that's what their platform is for, you know, by all means, that's what it's for. But we can focus on the level of playability. We can, you know, we can dissect, you know, saying the game as a whole, the type of, you know, players they are, without, you know, degrading what their personal characteristics are of one another or their personal emotions or feelings towards one another. It's basketball. It's competitive. We like to see what we're seeing, and if it takes a little bit of hatred, whether that is true or not, from or one or both of them, let it be that. As long as you keep it respectful about the game, no punches were thrown, no blood was drawn. At the end of the day, it was a basketball play that, you know, stepped outside. That's why we have referees there for a reason. A
Exactly.
foul was called. We good. So I don't know. I just don't like what is becoming. Everybody has an opinion these days, and everybody has, you know, their take on whatever it is. But
The
I
hot
feel
take
like
too.
now it's
Hot
not
take.
being basketball. You know,
And I feel
Yeah.
like unfortunately it pulls away from everything that we want, that we love about the game. Like
right?
I couldn't even tell you what kind of game Caitlin Clark had that game
Mm.
because the only thing that was covered was a play that no
If
one
you didn't watch
scored.
the game, you wouldn't know exactly.
It's so unfortunate, and it's like for me, it's extremely off-putting, and it's
And
Yeah.
then you built that level of hatred and animosity amongst the fans. Like one thing I did hear from a lot of YouTubers, streamers, podcasts, influencers, whatever, is that you gotta also realize the fan base. And this is no speak on any of the Caitlin Clark fan base or whatever. This is just me saying from what people have spoken on. But it does become a race conversation at one point, and they're saying like the majority. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. A lot of people are saying her fan base is very racist when it comes to the way they feel towards Angel Reese, because now it does become about hatred. Now y'all done built the level of hatred up because that's what y'all want us to focus on. Now things that are being said has nothing to do with the game. It has everything to do with, just degrading somebody's character, personality, and they haven't shown us anything. And we're seeing this too much. Just to get off the W for a second, in sports in general, whether it be football with the Shedeur Sanders conversation, whether it be baseball, hockey with our black athletes versus our white athletes, or whatever the case may be. Like at the end of the day, I thought talent is what's supposed to speak for the level of playability when it comes to sport. And that's what we should be talking about. But instead, we got people like, oh, she hate her. That's why she doing this, or she went. And then I really didn't like, what I'm saying? Let's get into it now, because I'm glad you brought that up. I really didn't like, RG3's take, because he was trying to act like, respectfully or not, certain people, because of the simple fact of a race card or whatever, because he felt that she only went after Caitlin Clark because she was white. But when the black girl put her in the chokehold the previous year, she didn't do nothing. But you also got to realize she came in as a rookie. She already knew the league was out to get her. They already were going to challenge her. She knew she wasn't going to get a fair, level of playability or challenge from some other girls. And she took it with the game. But like they said, the history of what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese has runs way deeper than just, hey, I'm a new rookie into the league and you're not going to get it easy. So
Yeah, and let me say this too, that like when we're looking at this X post from RG3, right? I think that's what disturbs me a little bit about this take. And I don't know if he's responded to the take, and kind of, I know he said something about what Ryan Clark said about him, but I don't know if he understood what he did with this take, because now he put Angel Reese in a position where now you're taking it outside of basketball, and now that hatred, everything that you're talking about, is coming towards her in a race kind of fashion, you know what I mean?
right.
So it's like, now these words that you're
You're
saying,
inciting the violence.
you're inciting
You're
the violence,
antagonizing.
and it becomes worse. And I'm not saying Ryan Clark is right, not saying RG3
No,
is right,
Phaz,
but
we're
I'm
going
just
to get on
saying
him in a second.
it
We just on RG.
becomes a problem even worse when you're a black man, and now you're just inciting your words. You're not
Right.
understanding what you're doing
We're not
and the
uplifting
type
our
of pressure.
woman of color. And that's what they talk about in our relationship
But
community,
but
too.
I, but I'm not even saying uplifting or whatever. Like, okay, I'm just saying you're just putting negativity, and you're
Yeah.
sending those type of people
And
that you're saying,
ultimately,
those racist people, or those people that take it
yeah.
overboard, her way, and you're putting ideas into their mind to make them think a certain type of way and send hate towards her way that didn't need to be there. Keep it basketball.
And my
You know
thing
what I mean?
is, you're stating the obvious, too, but you're trying to beat it into us. We know she don't like her. I don't know why you keep saying it. I wouldn't like her. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, I won a championship and then I'm coming into the league, or she won a championship and I'm coming to the league. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not, she's everybody's like, oh, she has what Angel Reese wants. No, she's top dog right now. They're talking about her like Angel Reese doesn't exist. And those who are acknowledging Angel Reese in the conversation is only a negative light now because of what we're doing to portray it. No, but yes, we understand Angel Reese misses layups from here and there. Okay, cool. But we also understand Angel Reese got hella rebounds too. So who's to say she ain't stat patting? But we
Hey,
not gonna get into the
who's stopping her? That's my question. Who's stopping her from
right.
getting a rebound?
And,
If
Stop
she
her.
and
missed a layup, get her right, get a rebound.
Stop her.
Angel Reese, 2024 WNBA All-Star,
Come on,
a
Rookie.
member of the WNBA All Rookie team.
come
And
on,
there was a point where she was the WNBA Rookie of the Month. Like, I
come
don't
on.
care what happens, the layups you miss, whatever it is, you're doing something. You
You
did it
gotta
as a
respect
rookie,
it.
and you're
And,
still doing. You gotta respect it.
and she got hurt. She ain't even get to finish the season. You know what I'm
Hello.
saying? So who knows?
Like, who
Um,
knows?
And again, not to take away from Kaylin. we not going to ever. It's
100%.
hard to take away from Caitlin's basketball ability.
You can't.
Because
She's a
you can't.
dog.
she cold. Like she's
She's
out here doing it.
Yeah.
She's the first of, many doing it like the way she's doing it. But again, to, hit on what we here to talk about, like, ultimately the level of, commentary that RG3 pushed. And again, I don't like it. I'm gonna just say it too. I don't like the way, I didn't feel like Ryan Clark had to say anything about his wife to push his point across, but I don't feel like he utilized, like, I feel like the message was taken out of context from some people. People just heard him say something about his white wife, and they automatically like, oh, he's being racist, or he's acting like he don't, or like, I don't feel like it had
RG3 took
anything
it
to do
out of
with that.
context.
I feel like it was the purpose of what he was trying to get across, what I'm saying, was just, hey, we understand at this current moment, and previously you've dealt with people who are, not of your own color. And ultimately, we already know, black women, whether we love it or not, can be a little rough around the edges. They have a little bit more passion. They have a little bit, but ultimately, it's the same thing for our black male athletes. You typically see us, we have the dog, the swagger, the negative narrative, or whatever the case may be. So, what do you think? My thing is, these same women too grow up idolizing, male athletes too, who had that dog in them, and they're trying to be whatever version of that in themselves because they were so successful with it, and that's not what they take. My thing is, Jordan, we know dog dominant. Kobe, dog dominant. Followed his game after Jordan. I'm sure these young ladies watch some of these great, phenomenal male athletes growing up too, and seeing that dog and it's like, I gotta play with that level of intensity.
So I feel like, my bad.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
But I feel like Angel had said a comment likening herself in some ways to Mike. They hated that because they was like, oh, Mike ain't never missed a layup. So the media took that and ran with it.
Oh,
but
right. We're not saying she's Mike, guys.
Yeah, exactly. But exactly what you're getting at, that like that dog, that like that competitiveness of she's a winner. If you look at her in high school, she's a champ. And the same thing about Caitlin. I think Caitlin has a lot of those same qualities. Beautiful basketball player,
intensity,
a killer. You mentioned the stuff of like whatever the W of her generation. A lot of the same. And I think what I'm anchoring why I was so upset at RG3 is the Spider-Man quote, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
Come on, say that.
When you have that platform, and I guess this is also what Ryan Clark was trying to get to. You don't realize that this is something that this young woman who's maybe 20, maybe 23, 22 years old, she's fought like her story. She worked so hard to get to where she's at, where she's trying to make generational moves with her money, be the best basketball player, be the best teammate. And you're taking it so far out of basketball, doing things to her that black women in corporate spaces are experiencing, black women in educational spaces are experiencing, and then just doing it with your platform and giving, like you said, the people who may be on the fence or racist, the out to be like, look, this black man said it, so I can say it too.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
At this point now, it must be true because they own race saying it.
It must be, and it's disheartening, and like
it's disheartening, and it's sad. And like going back to like what Ryan Clark was saying, like of course you said, just like you said, like him getting into his wife and stuff. Like he even said that in his podcast, like he didn't have to do that. There could have been a better way. But if you really listen to the message he was saying, what I liked about what he was saying is that he was pulling from personal experience. He was like, hey, these are things that I experienced when I was
dealt with white guys.
When I was he was saying I experienced when I was working with RG3. It was like, these are things that like we experience. Like I seen him saying these things. I see him saying these things. So he was saying more so from that. You know what I mean? So at least when he's talking about something, he was pulling from, hey man, I work with this guy. I know this guy.
I know you.
I've heard this guy say these things before. I'm not as surprised that you said this, but hey, I'm going to check you because now you're putting a black woman in this. The big thing was, when black women we got to put black women on this pedestal. It's not even about all that. It's about, hey man, like this is a young woman who's worked so hard to get where she's at, and she's a professional athlete. And you're talking about something has nothing to do with on the basketball. You're sending hate her way that doesn't need to be sent her way.
One thing I can say about RG3, just from watching this last whole situation unravel, he's I can tell now his content is not coming from a level. And my thing is, we know he's a great athlete. We know he's a great sports commentator and everything like that. But the most recent comments he's been making have nothing to do with sports play and ability. It has everything to do with emotion. He's a very emotional person. I think he might be a little bit too in touch with his feelings when it comes to his opinions on certain stuff. Because respectfully, when you called out Angel Reese, you talked just about emotion, hate this, like that. You never said anything about Angel Reese not liking the fact that Caitlin Clark is. I could have ran with that if you saying she's a better basketball player than her. And what if you compared the yes, I could have ran with that. I could have understood where you were getting at. But you spoke just strictly about her character and and you probably don't even really know her for real like that. But then somebody you do know, like you just stated, Ryan Clark. Now you take it to a whole nother personal level, which we can, jump to this point, which I didn't like. It's all emotion because again, yes, I do feel like some people took Ryan Clark's statement about his wife out of context, and they missed the message. And RG3 is one of those, but he also is very manipulative of his narrative and what he can do because as soon as he got an opportunity to respond to Ryan Clark, it had nothing to do with, hey, Ryan Clark, you said something about my wife I didn't like, keep it out, whatever. When he did try to approach it on that level, he started trying to go after the black man's job. Now you don't want to see the black man succeed because ultimately now you're like, oh, I think ESPN should do this.
Like this was on the pivot.
This had nothing to do with ESPN.
This was on the pivot.
It's on your personal podcast and his personal podcast. You should have challenged him on his personal podcast or set up,
Straight to him.
or whatever. Or stand on that. I'm not saying act out of character. Yes, you are still a man with a platform of a high voice and a high stature. We're not saying act out of character, get out of body, and jeopardize your future career. But what I'm saying is respond to him on the level in which he responded to you. Don't go after his job and his career because he didn't go after your job and career. Go after, his commentating skills, go after his podcast or whatever the case may be, or what he said about your wife. And again, I don't think he even in his message of what he was saying was not trying to degrade your wife. He even gave grace to knowing her, knowing who she is as a person, and her character. I don't think he was trying to degrade her. He ultimately just was speaking at a position to share a perspective on something. And RG3 took it as no, you're not gonna talk about my wife or
ESPN. I'm gonna say this. Look, I'm gonna say this. Then we could bounce
off. Run it to the white man.
It sounded very Karen-ish to me.
That's good.
It sounded very
no. I'm gonna message you for the free.
He attacked me.
Right.
He attacked me. He did. So I'm like, what could have been done better on both sides? Yes, it could. But I'm like that. I didn't like that. You know what I mean? I think both of them, they're commentating, they're doing the thing. But that conversation, we don't want to put these women. We don't want to put anyone, women, men, or anything in a situation where they're bringing hate towards them for something that is on the court. That's basketball. You know,
basketball, bro. And I get the emotion of RG3 from the standpoint of like, if anybody, I can only imagine, put my wife's name in their mouth is already off.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth. What we'll say?
I thought that's what he was gonna say.
Exactly. But I think again, you learn a lot about someone's character in those moments. You're not like, I don't care how you behave when life is good, the spotlight is on you, everybody's smiling and waving. When the pressure is applied, how do you respond? I think I learned a whole lot about, again, I don't know this man.
Yeah.
Never met him in my life. I'm gonna leave it at that. But just seeing how he responded in that, I didn't see myself in that. And I think it's always hard whenever you see someone respond in a way that you just don't align with in many ways.
Yeah.
Like you can recognize the emotion, but the response to the emotion, like you just like, bro, like where's the
Max literally just came on here and said something about that.
It's about the response.
Yes.
The
response is better. He said the response and the reaction. Like the reaction is different from the response.
That's this whole thing, this life thing, I think, that I'm learning as a black man who I believe I have a lot of power, right? And I think that's something that we all have as athletes, as like people who are like striving. I love what y'all are doing with the pod. And I think what I see is men making the most out of their power and just trying to maximize it on this like slope, right? And I think what you realize is that like, oh, life is going to throw whatever at me between the whistle, after a meeting, during meeting, whatever it may be. It's all about how do I respond to the situation. I think you learn a lot about, like I
Whatever,
said,
whatever happened to, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing else. Whatever happened to them teaching us growing up? I remember that's what I learned. I heard them say that.
And not
But
for real, because I do think that like
that's good.
when we talk about this all the time, like what this podcast is for, right?
man,
And
get
this
on it.
this this opened up my eyes a little bit because when we talk about this podcast is not built for any negativity. We're not on here talking about
And
this
I
celebrity
bashing our
did
degree.
this person did that, oh, this person went to this event and did this talk. No, this is not about that. This is a platform about like we're pushing positivity and we're trying to talk about sports, have debates, and just talk about things that we feel other people can connect with and learn something from, get motivated by, and hopefully get entertained by as well. So when we look at certain narratives or things getting pushed this way, this is one of those times where I'll look, like you said, League. I just don't align with what he was saying at
All right.
that time. This is nothing against him, his platform. I hope he makes all the money that he can with his platform, his
Exactly.
podcast, and everything.
I get the
Ryan Clark,
clickbait.
hope he makes everything and that he wants with his podcast and everything. But
100%.
those are some things that like I just don't align with because those things are hurting other people. And one thing we are going to do on this podcast, we're going to talk about things that we feel like are not right. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're gonna
At
we're
the end
gonna
of the
talk about
day,
things that are not right.
at the end of the day, I feel like you just said, I love that you went there with that. This podcast is built for just that positivity, and it's good to come on. Although we have been hitting on the negative elements, we're not going to miss out on our opportunity to shed light on something or to speak on something where we don't think we align with it or it's not right. But ultimately, what we've been trying to do here, and you've seen it on previous episodes, and you're going to see it on this episode too. Like just like you said, bringing a positive light to the situation, showing how this is about basketball. Y'all trying to make it about something, but at the end of the day, this is a level of basketball. You have two competitive athletes who are just in a competitive realm, and sometimes emotions boil over, but they kept a respect for the game. They finished the game. If you get whooped up on at some point in time, yes, your emotions are going to flare. But I feel like it's something that happened. Nobody got thrown out. It was a basketball play and he just got blew up for a second, but they brought it back. They finished the game. So it was like, but that one moment, like when we said earlier, that one moment is mainly what that game became about. So now you think back to the game, like, damn,
Who won?
what was going on? You missed
Who
such and
won?
such might
Who
have had
won?
this many points.
Who
She had
won?
rebound. Like you don't need like now
No.
it's so much attention off basketball. And it's like
Who won?
that's
Who
we're
won the
not trying to do that.
game? Who
I
won
I
the
think
wish
game? Hey,
what I would
drop
have
in the
loved to have
comments
seen us
who
do
won
on
the
this
game.
episode.
please.
I actually would have loved to have seen us. We should have came on here and really to stand on what we saying had saying some more positive elements of that game. Maybe because I know it's some
That would have
great
been
things that
good.
happened in that game. Stat wise,
I think
it was some great basketball being played, and I would love to have hit on that. Which we're gonna bring that to y'all. Don't worry about that.
yeah, because I think Angel Reese's rookie running mate, I think her last name is like I don't want to mispronounce it. She dropped 28, I think, that game.
Come on
Oh
now,
wow.
and they
Crazy.
missed that, and that's big.
Crazy.
Wow. Wow. And I think one thing too that was big just even on this topic, right, is that Caitlin Clark injured. You know what I mean? I think she's coming
Man,
back soon, but I think they said they got good news, but she's out. I think she had like a quad or something else going on, but she had an injury where she was going to be out for, you know what I'm saying, a few games. They said two
mm-hmm.
games or something like that. And one thing I noticed with that, right, when I was just looking up, doing some research on it, all the negative comments that was being received. One of the comments, right, was, okay, I'm done watching the WNBA for 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, the
uh,
NBA just lost 500,000 viewers just like that.
but also that's
Or
another
this
thing
just
too. I
happened
feel
right
like
here.
these negative narratives are doing. They're putting, which again, her level of basketball is what got her there, but now it's becoming it's becoming less and less and less about basketball. Now to say you're not going to watch the sport because you're that much in awe about your player going down. How many times has Steph went down and we still kept watching basketball? How many times Kobe went down? How many times, you know what I'm saying, Kevin Durant, all the greats, LeBron, anybody, you know what I'm saying, who we watch that may be a favorite, they go down and we don't stop watching the game because of that. And that's not something I would like to happen, with the WNBA, you know what I'm saying? Because when Angel went down, we didn't stop watching. Caitlin go down, we're not going to stop watching. All the women of the WNBA are working their tail off
Come on,
to
bro.
bring eyes to that game and bring eyes to that sport. So I'm going to be tuned in and I'm going to be tapped in. And hopefully I hope this is an opportunity to get some of those more underdogs that are in that league trying to ball out now opportunity to shine outside of the negative narrative. Let's let that calm down and okay, now we may be able to catch the attention of some of these other people dropping 28, dropping 30, and really balling out, putting on the show. And now we can get back to basketball, you know?
That's a great point because when I first heard that, I originally thought like, okay, like that kind of I so a little background about me. I'm from Shreveport, from Louisiana. It's
Yeah.
not a place like Chicago, right? It's like Chicago
Hmm.
hoop is different. Like y'all got
Hmm.
legendary hoopers
Watch out
left
now
to
what you say
right.
about your city. They might get
No,
on you.
no,
What you
I'm
mean we
about
can't hoop this?
I'm about to get there, or at least I hope so. Here, at least, like women's basketball is bigger in a sense than men's
Ah,
like LSU
okay.
women's is bigger. I mean, we had
Wow.
Shaq,
I feel that.
so like
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
can have that argument, and maybe the Ben Simmons years, but even that, like, did we even make the tournament? Who knows? But like the Sylvia Fowles growing up, watching her play, Simone, I think her name was. We just have some like if we were watching
I got some
basketball,
talent.
like the high school basketball games, we will go to watch the women's play first, and also stay for the boys games afterwards. Like that's part of the culture. So like to me, when I first heard, I was like, okay, some people may just like I get that. People haven't been like a WNBA before that. But listening to your comment, I realize again how this is another slip by the media because we
Yeah.
have people who are tuning in for Caitlyn. And it shows that they aren't doing their job because we aren't developing lovers of basketball.
Right.
We're just
Yes.
only building bigger fans. I feel
Yes.
like if I can get someone to watch a good NFL game, if the right people are
There's
commentating,
so much
telling the
going on in
right
the NFL game.
storylines, you have people who
Let's
begin to
improve all around.
exactly. You have people to
I
begin
like
to become
that.
fans of football. You have
Right.
people to become
I
fans of
feel like
basketball.
That's a
now
great
because the
point.
eyes are there, use us. Use this. Okay, use this negative, positive narrative, whatever you're doing with Caitlyn and Angel, and let's start building some more because it's going to take more than two people. And again, for all the women in the W who are really top dog, who are really putting on the show, working their butt off day in and day out, and y'all just may not be getting the recognition. This is your time to speak up too. Get into that light.
We want to
Start
hear
kind of
from
becoming a
you.
part of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Really put pressure on. If Caitlyn's gonna be top dog, I'm on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm in that conversation too. Y'all talking about Caitlyn and Angel. I'm here too. I think it needs to be more, women stepping up now, starting to get on the roller coaster and the wave now. Now more than ever is what I'm
That's a
getting at.
good
You know what I'm
point.
saying? And
And
and for the fans, I do want to say
the
something regarding
crazy
the
thing
fans.
though too, my bad, I'll let you
Like,
get
go
to that.
ahead.
The crazy thing too is that like we say that and I slipped up right and I said that too, but I'm looking like we even had the conversation with Max, is like they're on that. Like some
Okay.
these women, like Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they like we're seeing that because like we've seen that through college and we're watching that story, and that's a big
Uh-huh.
story. But I think what Leak's saying is like the media coverage and all that surrounding different players. But like these women are on that, like the Diana Taurasi, the
Come on,
Angel,
bro.
like they're on that. So I don't think it's the woman needs to step out. I think they've been on that. I think it's the media. And when I say this, when I said that, right, a lot of the stuff media that I was saying about like, yep, I'm not watching the WNBA for 2 weeks. I'm not watching this. It's about to go down this and that. Like Max was saying when he was on the episode, a lot of the people that are saying this never played ball, don't
Right.
hoop, couch potatoes, couldn't guard Caitlin Clark, couldn't guard Angel Reese,
Right.
couldn't step out there, wouldn't, you know what I mean? So
Right.
those are a lot of people. So I think what Leak is saying, I really like that point about the business side of it. Like if it's the NFL, one of the biggest businesses out
And
here,
it's not
like
about
do
race
more. It's
because
not
I
about
like
race.
Paige too.
Yeah.
Come
Come
on
on.
now.
Hell yeah.
We need to build
She
the
hosted it.
business outside of that because I
Well,
think these women
100%.
are
a little
doing
coaching
things.
on Paige.
So coverage on each team and coverage on the players and
Yeah.
getting more coverage on all of them outside of the Angel and the Caitlin Clark story. So I
It's
agree with that.
it's such
And
a
like you
right.
said, because I do want to go to the fans and hopefully I can get there with this comment, but it's on us first. The media is not just they're the immediate source, but they're not the only source that can push these messages and to help
Mhm.
these women do what they need to do. So it is on us too as podcasts and influencers, YouTube, all that. It is on the RG3s, it is on the Ryan Clark
Yes.
to shift the narrative. Yes, these women have worked their tail off to have that conversation about them, but at the same time, let's now start shifting it and bringing more positivity and positive light to that
Yes.
for the WNBA. So it is on us. And saying that, this next, my next comment I want to get into regarding the people who have that platform, whether you're trying to stay relevant, whether you're trying to stay in the conversation, ultimately I didn't like, that we had a lot of celebrities that had their take on it. No, like you said, they have that platform, or people are looking to them. There's everybody following their page. What's their take on it? Like, I'm saying, their fan base. And to rally your fan base around one side and not to bring everybody to this attention of the game, what these women are working so hard for, it just because again, you've seen comments like from LeBron, only shit. And again, they say he knew what he was doing when he made the comment about Caitlin Clark, whatever case that be, in the height of what was going on at that time. But whether he was being extra or whatever, I didn't like how the fans responded to his comments. I seen a lot of
What did he
some
say?
of it
What
was
did he
funny.
say? What did he say? What did he say?
It was just more on the likes of, I don't want to take out of context, but give me a second, I'm gonna pull it up. But basically, it was his Twitter comment about Caitlin Clark's stats. He pretty much was trying to light onto her playability, but ultimately, and I'm gonna find it. But I want to finish my statement real fast.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it was like everybody's like, man, shut up, LeBron. Like, you talking right now. It just had like they just drugged him, and then they started bringing up like, I wish he was on the plane with Kobe, and it was all type of crazy stuff that was being said, and I was just like, damn. But that's how much fuel to the fire has been added by us bringing a negative light on this conversation and not pushing this like these are two dogs working hard. Now the fan base is getting, her fan base is getting racist. Angel Reese fan base is getting ignorant, and it's like, we now we got this race war, or this hatred war that has nothing to do with basketball. And we're saying things, and it's just like, damn, like you almost want to take a break from the social media stuff, because you're like, this is not what we want to get wrapped up in. So for the fans, at the end of the day, respect the sport and the game and what's going on. At the end of the day, we understand y'all got y'all love for the game, y'all ride or die, y'all fan base, y'all city, y'all people. But to a certain degree, it starts getting distasteful, and I just don't like to see it. I want us to do better.
Yeah, at a certain point, I think that's like when you talk about like the comments and stuff like that, like that's the trolls. Like I'm talking about, like these the people they don't have no don't play, they don't do this, like they all the negativity and the stuff like that. But I love what you said. You like, all we can do on our end is continue to, push the real narrative, the true thing that's out there about the basketball play and what these women and everybody is really doing around the WNBA and how great of a thing it is, this shift that we've seen in the past 5 years for the women's basketball, women's sports, and things like that. So I definitely agree with that. But I think the trolls gonna be the trolls, honestly. Like I don't think that's gonna change. Like I think,
definitely. I ain't saying that was Braun's fault, because ultimately it was something simple, and I'm about to find it here in a minute. It was something simple, but the way they just, and it was just like, man, you just hated to see it.
Yeah, I'm already knowing.
And like listening to y'all talk, something that I'm realizing is like part of me is asking myself, like, why am I surprised? Like I'm listening to a quarterback who was rookie of the year in like 2012, a safety who was given concussions all of the 2010s, talk about women's basketball. And I feel like
what leg they got? So.
Exactly. So like there's a responsibility, or at least I believe, like if you want to do your job, to do your job well, you need to study up on a game, knowledgeable enough to speak to it. And I may underestimate that, like that's how everyone else approaches it. Because I think the reason why like people probably are leaving because Caitlin is hurt now is like they aren't able to speak to the game of the WNBA. They probably speak to it just like it's the NBA. Like it's almost a different game being played out there. And this is giving me an opportunity to like shout out. You already say like Diana Taurasi, their podcast. Her and I can't believe I'm blanking on her running mate's name, because like they both were like the original.
Is it Kelsey Plum?
No, the other lady. It's crazy. Diana Taurasi, and when we see it, it's gonna blow us. But
is it a podcast?
Yeah, so I'm not sure they have a podcast, but they like they do, the Peyton Eli thing.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
they do something similar to that.
It's Kelsey Plum. Okay.
No, it's another retired hooper. But there's another podcast, Off the Record. Sue Bird, dog. She got a strap on her too. Well, she did back in the day. And it's making me realize, like, okay, Malik, yeah, you frustrated. Part of that frustration may be you aren't looking to the right places. Like I may follow one or two women own women-led podcast. Also, shout out to the women. Like, I want to hear more of it, but I need to
Right.
do a bit more on my side to go look for, like, all right, clearly these aren't the people I need to be listening to on this subject. I shouldn't
Yeah,
be getting my WNBA knowledge from Ryan Clark and RG3. That's just
yeah,
like, or
And
like
I
facts.
think they was both trying to have more of a sports take on it, but still, like you said,
they slip, or in my opinion.
I think everybody tried to do what we all do. They wanted to react in the moment. Everything was current. It was in the now. I got to be the first to say something about this. Not really thinking how is what I'm gonna say going to impact this game, the perspective, the narrative. Whatever case it may be, am I doing right by the people who are impacted by this, or am, like Faye said earlier, am I just hurting more people? You know what I'm saying with what I'm saying. So,
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think a lot of it too is like that shows who you are.
mm,
Like I think kind of like Leek was saying earlier, like when it's those, okay, I want to be the first to get in the moment takes, but it's like overall the message that you have, this is consistent. This has to be consistent with like who you are. This is who I'm trying to be. Like, okay, I'm gonna get this take out right now. This is how I feel. He sent out that tweet. Okay, this is like, what are you just tweeting this for?
it's a
right.
mess.
Like this is what you feel. This is how you want to live your. This is part of who you are, RG3. You know what I
And once
mean?
it's out there, it's out there. Taking it back.
I'm trying to
So,
I'm trying to see an analogy an
Well
analogy
said, Kenny. Well said.
to make it line up, because ultimately they're professionals, right? And
mhm,
that's like crunch time. Like if Kobe
yes,
trained for those moments. So
hmm
when it was 5 seconds left,
Talk
Kobe knew
about
what
it.
to do with the ball. If it's crunch time and you make
I
a
like where he's
mistake,
going.
it tells me that you didn't train to be here. Like
Right.
you
I like where
wasn't
he's going.
you like you have to be ready for those moments to be able to talk about the sport, talk about the game in a way that's it, in my mind, this shouldn't be the reaction.
Right.
hmm
This, like, if you are in the media, at least I think your job is to bring people to the game.
Right.
hmm
I think the opposite is happening.
the
To
opposite.
So
yourself
if
Because
in the
no,
game.
because negativity is viral.
I
Mm-hmm.
would get
Negativity
fired,
gets you paid.
but I would get fired if I was on
You
my
would.
job and I did.
Yes. Yes.
If I have OKRs and I did something that attract or detracted from those OKRs, I get fired.
Yes.
At
Yes.
the end of the day,
And yeah.
it's human nature. Like I've shared light on this before. It's human nature, and unfortunately, it's just the way we are. And until we, and again, I don't know if we ever change. When it comes to that, but it started at a young age, and it's carried into just translated into life. But grades. I talk about grades all the time. When you're a kid, you may bring a report card home with 4 A's, couple A's, couple B's, but that if you got one F, the F is so much more of a focus
That's
point
interesting.
than everything else great that's going on around it. That one negative thing can trump 5 positive things if you know what I'm saying, are not taking the good with the bad, and still, like we said on the last episode, phase, celebrating the small victories, you know, and because we're not doing that, now it's like everybody's like, and again, the ugly thing about it is everybody's seeing that the negativity is working for certain people. So now,
Mhm.
like, dang, he blew up with the negative. I need to just put my little take out there, or whatever, say my little whatever.
That's
Not F
true.
what you talking about. I'm gonna go in, and now you got. But we've seen that in everything, where they come like rap beefs, Tupac Biggie, 50 Ja Rule, you know what I'm saying? You got the sports beefs, you know what I'm saying? You got the politicians, everything is basically a beef debate. So, ultimately it's never what is the good aspects of this, you know what I'm saying? And again, we understand everybody got a job to do, like you said, as influencers, and everybody has a job to do to their fans, but ultimately, you know, it's just
It's
they
unfortunate,
Yeah,
trying to
but
they
it's
trying
and
to
true.
sell, they trying to provide
and
for their families.
yeah,
So.
It's
and
true.
and I think how the I don't want to say like I don't know much about algorithms, but like how the algorithm or whatever it is set up may push a lot of that, or like what you
Yeah,
follow or what you
yeah,
pull into. Because I don't want to take away from all the people similar to what we're trying to do on this podcast
right.
who are pushing the positivity, but kind of like Leek said, it's like we may not be watching that, like we may be getting our information from the wrong source, but there probably are a lot of people out there like I talk about, like when you watch the news, like you see all the murders and everything like that, like you just think it's all bad, but it's like
Talk
they
to
know they just shot out this young black girl who just was in the STEM class and just created this robot. And I'm like, you didn't even miss that because you worried about all the bad stuff. You know what I mean? So I think there is like how you look at it, there is a perspective. And like you said,
Fear aspect.
I'm not gonna be here to say, okay, we're trying to change everything, but all we can do is, you know what I'm saying, we could push our positivity, push our platform, try to highlight those good things, you know what I mean, and make
Definitely.
those go viral in our own way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think
So in
that
a
that is a
positive
cool
sense,
thing. Yeah.
now to start, hitting on, a small stint of positivity, whether you want to share, you're just a positive take or how they could have handled that differently or anything like that. Like let's now, let's get back to, routine scheduled programming,
No, but
and give some shout out.
I think one cool thing too is that like everything that we are saying, like if you look like when we watch back the whole like I think it is positive. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like a lot of the stuff that we are saying is the take on, hey, like we're not looking at it this way. This might not be the best way to look at it, but
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
like this is
Not definitely.
let's keep it basketball because they are hooping out there. Like they are doing good things. Angel Reese is balling on the court and off the court. Caitlin Clark is balling on the court and off the court. The
Hmm.
WNBA is doing great things on the court and off the court. You know what I mean? So I think this conversation, I don't even think the conversation itself, I think it was great that we had this conversation because
Oh
it was
yeah, no, definitely.
taking
Yeah,
the negative conversation and saying, like, hey, like, yeah, y'all could do better. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
At the end of the day, ladies,
I
keep
think
doing
that's
what
what
you're
we need
doing.
too. I think that's
Keep
what we
doing
need
what you're
too.
doing. It's working.
Yeah.
Y'all balling. We watching.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to
Whatever
see.
your reason is, we watching. We love to see what we seeing. Just keep hooping, man, and let's let the game speak for yourself. That's all I can say. Y'all don't even got to say too much away. And a majority of the time, or more often than not, they not even the ones talking. So y'all just keep hooping, and we'll figure it out. All what MWA said, all publicity is good publicity.
That's what
So,
they said, and it's making me think, and like especially because we're
Yeah.
on this topic of like shouting out positivity. There is this one platform, and I hope it's okay for me to shout out another
go
platform
Yes.
ahead, come on
on
now,
y'all
Yes.
we ain't
platform.
gatekeeping.
Off the record, they just started like today, or I think they just went live for the first time yesterday or today. But it's
Hmm.
like two women who like are really good individually. They just came together to like collaborate, kind of like what y'all are doing.
Hmm.
If anybody is listening and is looking for like, oh, I don't know who to follow outside of Diana Taurasi and these people, that may be a great place to start. They have amazing takes about the sport. They understand it really well. They also have amazing takes on men's sports too. So like y'all said, there is definitely out there. Y'all do a great job of it.
What's the name of the pod?
Off the record, I believe.
Off the
Off the
record.
record.
We
Off
gotta
the
reach
record.
out.
That's kind of
Shout out
hard.
off
That's
the
a
record.
hard
If y'all
name now that
watch
I'm
the
Off the
saying it.
episode,
record.
shout out to y'all. Keep doing
Off the
what y'all doing.
record.
We
Come mess
appreciate
with
it.
us. Off the
Right.
record and
We'd love to
Unfazed
have y'all
collab coming
on if y'all
soon. We'd
got a
love to have
second.
y'all.
Yeah, that'll be hard. I
Yeah.
will tune in for sure
No, for
as a
sure.
mutual
I'm
fan
looking
of
for
both.
more positive female conversation too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
by all
definitely.
means.
And I know with this episode, Leak, we had you on this episode, man. We definitely appreciate you. We want
Man.
to have you back because I want to know. I love your take
Blessings,
on the
bro.
WNBA. Shout out Shreveport, shout out Louisiana,
Yo,
Shout out
everything.
to
I'd had you have to
Shreve.
hold
at
on
home
to
right
talk
now.
about your hometown. We're gonna have you back on the episode because we want to learn more
Hey,
about you too. But how we
hey.
end every episode, we have the guests. We ask them, unfazed. How are you staying unfazed
Let them
in your
know.
life today? Unfazed is like, hey man, I'm not worried about the world. I'm like in my own lane. What are you doing to stay unfazed? Because a lot of negativity, like we just talked about, a
Yeah.
lot of
Mm.
negativity, a lot of stuff going on that can knock you off your game. What are you doing to stay unfazed, bro?
Bro, we was kind of getting into it. First off, amazing question. Big love to the pod. We was kind of getting into it midway through the conversation of like what's his ideal reaction. And I think realizing that my power is best used when concentrated. So for
Mm,
me, it's like getting to all right.
Ooh.
Growing up, it was sporadic, right? Like it was someone said the wrong thing. Who knows what could happen? How do I
mhm,
get that and like kind of have it under control? And
mm,
for me, it's a lot of like prayer, a lot of meditation, a lot of reading my word.
Yeah.
nice.
Personally, I'm constantly seeking God, and I feel like as
I
long as I'm
love that.
staying on that path, man, bro, it must be for my good. That's
Yeah,
what he
bro.
said. So it must be. It has to be
Yeah,
for my
bro.
good.
Got you,
That
brother.
was nice. I know it's nice. I like
That's how
that.
you stay unfazed, man. We got Malik Leary in the building.
Ooh,
Real
ooh,
deal,
ooh.
McNeal. And you know your
Come on
host,
now.
Phase. We out of here, man. Another great episode. We appreciate y'all. Stay
Love.
unfazed.
I'm unfazed.